Hello, everyone. I'm Sean,
This is whom?
and we are the Courageour Frights back once again for another movie review. And this
Yes,
time we are doing The Batman.
the Batman, the very dark and brooding Batman, but the Batman.
I'm vengeance.
I'm vengeance, which he doesn't become vengeance later on.
No.
He shakes him to his core.
Yes. All right. So you just saw this movie. So
Yeah, I just saw it today.
yeah, I saw it a little over a week ago.
Okay, so the very first scene we see is someone like looking through, I guess the mayor. I don't know if it's like it goes to the mayor's house or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and you have someone like looking through like binoculars or something.
Yeah.
Which I kind of thought it was like Batman at first or something like that, but I guess
Yeah,
it wasn't.
I was confused by that too.
Yeah. But then you see like some kid playing with his dad or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it goes like later on in the night, and you kind of tell who's in the actual house, and it's like the mayor, and he's running for an election. I guess he's not. He must not be doing well in the polls, or he's like tied with his opposition or whatever. Like he's walking around the house and he's talking to someone on the phone. You can see in the background like some guys like standing in like the corner.
Yeah.
And then he hangs the phone up, and then all of a sudden the guy takes out like a hammer or something like that. I guess it was not a. They'll find out what it is later on. It's like a tool for picking up carpet and stuff. It's like a carpeting tool.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he hits him in the head with it, and it like basically hits him a couple times in the head, and then it was it was pretty uncomfortable actually.
Yeah, which I think that's kind of a theme with the movie is that they at times it almost felt like a Saw movie or something.
Yeah,
Like
this
not,
definitely had that feeling.
it's very different from a typical Batman movie. Like it's definitely
Yeah,
going more into the crime element of things.
yeah, which I think that's kind of what their goal was with this one, because he wasn't like Batman's not really like, I guess he's a fighter, but he's not like fighting all the time in this movie. That's for sure.
No, that's definitely one thing I did like about this movie is it's a completely different take. Like it's
Yeah,
Nolan's Batman was grounded, but this is even more grounded than Nolan's. Like this is
yeah,
like gritty, almost like a real world take on it. And,
yeah. Real world take of Batman. Yeah, pretty much.
and a big chunk of the movie is more into the crime investigation aspect and stuff than the actual like superhero. There isn't really a superhero part in this. It's pretty much mostly detective work and
Yeah, and him like going around like getting
vigilante
information.
stuff.
Yeah. And I don't even, did he really even beat up? I guess he beat up bad guys like once, and that was like the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah, he beats up bad guys a couple times, but yeah, there's kind of that vigilante aspect to it, and then there's a lot of detective work which you've
Yeah.
never really seen from Batman in a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, especially in a movie like this.
The world's greatest detective doesn't do a whole lot of detecting
Yeah, detecting
until now.
until now, which even it makes like he doesn't know every answer. I guess we'll go a little bit further into it. Like, basically, after he does that, it says the title screen says the Batman. So you're basically getting to that point of being like, okay, this is the type of movie it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Like very dark. The next scene was the next scene where he's like in the subway. I can't remember. I just watched it. I can't remember.
That happens pretty early on. So yeah,
Yeah, it's like really close together because I can't remember if it was the next scene was basically they talk about the Batman. And it's like, I am vengeance, I am night. Fear is what he's basically saying, that fear is what keeps Gotham in control, basically. Like he has the bat symbol and it shows up in the sky, and then these criminals see it and they're like scared. That's where you get to the first part of his vigilantism. They're in the train, and these guys with like I don't know if it was like were they like at a festival? It was like Halloween or something. I don't know what was going on.
It is Halloween when this
was it Halloween.
Yeah.
Okay. Because everyone was like dressed in costume in the middle of like New York City.
Yeah.
Gotham City. Like, do people do that?
Yeah, it's
like,
Halloween. Because this is based on one of the comics. This is based on The Long Halloween.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that is true. I actually have that.
Yeah, and then
just didn't have Calendar Man in it. But
yeah, the whole thing at the end, like the big event when he blows up bunches of city and stuff, that happens on the 5th of November or whatever, which I think is a reference to Guy Fawkes or something. That remember the 5th of November.
Oh yeah, because they talk about that. Yeah, I guess that goes to that point later on.
Yeah.
But then it talks about this goes to like the normal Batman spiel, and I think it goes into where he's like, then it goes and talks to Gordon, and Gordon's like, we need to go investigate because basically saying the mayor died because someone killed him.
Yes.
But then it's like he's pretty. I guess this Batman's not as brutal as Ben Affleck's Batman. Where
he doesn't kill people.
No. This Batman, he even makes a point like, no guns, we're not the same as the criminals, is like blah 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 later on.
Right.
Like normal Batman stuff.
He even poses his views on Catwoman and Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah,
so like that's much your rule, not mine.
Yeah, he's like, we can't kill him. But he does, like, when he punches people, he like punches them a couple times, like hits them in the face. But I guess you probably have to, because Robert Pattinson, I think we talked about this in our podcasts before.
Yes. Yeah.
But he even says that I'm not working out for this role, and you can tell he didn't.
Yeah, he's very, very lean.
Yeah, very lean and not muscular at all.
Yeah,
he does look like he's pretty brooding still, but maybe that might just be Robert Pattinson.
That's just Robert Pattinson.
Yeah. So
he's almost non-existent as Bruce Wayne in this.
Yeah, this movie definitely focused on Batman. Bruce Wayne is like,
they're like, isn't even a Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I think there's like one scene later on where he's like because he had to. We know the villain is Riddler in this movie too.
Yeah, I think everybody knows that.
Yeah, so like he goes and he's like, serial killers like to go to their to see their victims or whatever. Mm-hmm. So he might be like he might be at the funeral like for the mayor, but this is like way later on. This is probably like an hour and a half in the movie.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll get to that point, but that's like the only time Bruce Wayne was really in the movie, like really as Bruce Wayne.
Right. And like Alfred's trying to get Bruce Wayne to do stuff, but he won't. That's in common with the Christian Bale depiction, especially in Dark Knight Rises when he won't come out of his attic or whatever.
Yeah, and I think they might have took from the Year One Batman comic too, because that's kind of how Batman Year One is too, because or the graphic novel, because he's like he's more like, because he's basically just starting out as Batman. So he's like, I don't care about Bruce Wayne. It's like, I don't care about the Wayne name, which he says that in the thing. He says that later on. He's like, I don't care about that type of stuff.
Right.
It's like, I'm doing what I want to do is to save the city by basically being a vigilante. I think it's almost like a combination of a bunch of different graphic novels that they just put together.
It is. It's like 4 or 5 stories put together into one.
Yeah. So so after that we basically Gordon has him in there, and they kind of tell the cops don't really like him, which I don't think at this point they talk about that it's been 2 years since he's been doing this. I don't think this part has ever been talked about this. Yeah.
No, I mean he has been doing it for 2 years, but I don't think he's been connected with the police for that long.
Yeah, I think he's only with Gordon. Like
he's made contact with because this seemed like this broke from the usual mold, because Batman's just out here in the middle of a police investigation, like walking around the hallway with all the cops there, and they're all like, what's he doing here?
Yeah, it's like, get him out of here, which you finally, like later on, you talk about, because this isn't Commissioner Gordon, this is just Lieutenant Gordon, or I don't even know. Yeah. Gordon. Because we know Gordon. Yeah, because when he's like, because Gordon's like, I brought him in because he needed help, because they have like at the crime scene, there's a greetings card that says to the Batman, but it has the riddle on it. It's like made with a cipher, which it kind of see like the Riddler is almost like a Zodiac killer almost, because it has like that kind of feeling to him. Yeah, he's very much ciphers, very much a Zodiac killer. Yeah, basically what he is in this. He's like kind of like out there. He's not really not really connected, that type of thing. Yeah, the Riddler in this is played by Ted Cruz. There you go. The Zodiac killer. Yeah. And the Riddler is played by Paul Dano, who I don't think I've ever seen him in anything. Yeah, I don't think he's really in anything, because he looks like Bill Gates. Gates. Like, oh, Bill Gates is in here. But well, no, it's Bill Gates. But after this, but then you have like, there's an obvious homage to Robin at this point too, because he's like, Batman is walking around, he's like, because the real commissioner comes in, he's like, get him out of here. Yeah. We don't want vigilantes. The press is downstairs. They want to do like a press press release or something like that. He's like, get him out of here. I don't want to see him. Basically, it's kind of showing the police do not trust Batman at all, which that happens in all Batman movies. It's like all police hate him.
Why would you trust him, to be honest?
Yeah.
Got a bat costume walking around.
Yeah, and then Batman looks at the kid because the kid is the one who walked in and found his dad being dead.
Yeah.
And he like stares at him for like 40 minutes.
Like, Batman stares at this kid for like half the movie.
Yeah, because like even Gordon's like, we need to get out of here. And Batman's still staring at the kid. And he's like, we got to get out of here now. It's like, what are you doing, Batman? Why are you staring at this kid for no reason? And the kid's like uncomfortable at this point. Yeah. Like, it's like really weird.
Yeah. Well, they're kind of setting him up to potentially be Robin.
Yeah, he's like, it's supposed to be a Robin look.
Yeah, he saves him later at the funeral too. So.
Yeah. After that, I think he goes back. Like he looks at, I guess, the cipher, and he's like getting help from Alfred and saying, "What?" We're trying to figure out what the cipher means because, well, I remember the riddle was like something about being dead. It lies still, and that was the actual cipher code.
Yeah.
So they put it to the computer, and it said drive. Basically, it was like Alfred and him, and it kind of, this is where you get to the point where he's talking about like Bruce Wayne. He just like, I don't want to be, it's like, I don't care about the Wayne name. I was like, I don't care about dying and stuff.
This is where my favorite line in the movie comes in, because Alfred's talking about how he cares about Bruce Wayne and all that stuff, and then Bruce Wayne's like, "You're not my real dad."
Oh yeah. Like, you're not my real dad.
He literally says that.
Yeah, I know.
You're not my real dad.
It's like, what is he talking about? It's like, thanks, Bruce.
Teenage Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, teenage Bruce Wayne.
Teenage 35-year-old Bruce Wayne.
Actually, Alfred, is this like Alfred that like is like SAS Alfred or something? Or is like,
yeah.
Okay, this is like, he knows
SAS.
how to do all that.
Yeah, because in the movie they explain that he trained Bruce how to fight and everything too.
Oh yeah, I think later on he's talking about his dad died or something.
Yeah, he taught him how to fight. There was a prequel novel that came out like a couple weeks before the movie did, and it went into more detail about that. But so apparently,
like a little bit of history.
Yeah, they don't tell you this in the movie, but Alfred trained him first. But then when he went off to university, what he would do is he'd go to a different university, like different countries around the world. Yeah. And he would do 1 year of study in like criminology or something. And then he would drop out. And then he would get he'd pursue another degree in like chemistry or whatever.
Oh, okay. So that's why he knows all this stuff.
Yeah. And he would go to the best school in the world for that particular thing. But while he was there, he would train in like the martial arts or whatever of that country or that place. So,
okay, that's actually kind of interesting backstory in that.
Yeah, so his original baseline fighting style came from Alfred, but then he supplemented it with all these other things.
Oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. It's kind of wish they would have put that in the movie. I mean,
yeah, I thought it was a really cool concept that should have been in the movie. It's
like he just walks around. He's like, "I'm vengeance." Like, how did you know how to fight?
Yeah,
like you're pretty skinny, and you don't. I'm surprised you've survived this long.
He has a very like brawler style combat.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Like it's not refined or anything, but
yeah,
kind of realistic though. Like even actual martial artists tend to go into like a brawl type thing in a real fight.
Yeah.
So you might get an occasional technique from a martial art, but for the most part, it's just brawling.
Brawling until someone gets knocked out.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And technically brawling is a martial art as well. So like boxing is a martial art. So people complaining about that, it's like, well, technically speaking, boxing and wrestling are martial arts also.
About wrestling.
I don't know about that. But
there we go.
Shin kicking.
There you go. Okay, so like I guess Alfred and but then we get to the point where here we got Alfred and Bruce. They figure out Batman figures out the cipher. It says drive. They'd be like, "Oh, let's go, Gordon. Let's go back to the house." And he's like, "Let's go to the garage and look for something like." There for a reason why it says drive. That's like a pretty inept sweep through for the police, though. They didn't go down. They didn't go to anywhere else.
No, they didn't find
go
anything.
to the one room.
Yeah,
but But that one car has like something sticking, like a knife or something sticking into it. And then there's like it's like, oh, you're looking for a USB drive in this Mercedes or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But it has like the finger that, because the mayor had his finger was removed as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it basically got the USB drive, and then like the finger was attached to this USB drive.
Because it's a thumb drive.
Yeah, thumb drive.
They had like an actual thumb like attached to.
Yeah. I actually wonder. Actually, it did say drive. I wonder that must have been. I wonder thumb must have been in there too.
Yeah,
it's probably part of that riddle or something.
Yeah, because they needed the fingerprint from the thumb to access the drive too.
Yeah, so they had like a computer. They put it in, and when they put the finger onto the thumb drive, then you're getting to that point where it's like, okay, then you get all these pictures shows up, and it shows the mayor had like, because like there's another theme of talking about lies and stuff is another thing about all these people, all these rich people and all this stuff are lying like all the time.
Yeah,
they're not really truth, or they're just like saying things to try to get votes and stuff, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it showed like he's at like a bar, like it shows like a bar in this picture, and it's saying like they find out it's the Penguin's bar,
right?
Which Batman says like, I'm well aware of that. So they must have some sort of history at one point. And then it shows like this lady that's with them. It's like all beat up. And like, we need to find who this lady is. So this goes to the next scene where Batman goes to the ice lounge or something, which is Penguin's like bar.
Yeah, Iceberg Lounge.
Yeah, Iceberg Lounge. Where's this Penguin's bar or whatever?
Yeah. He's asking everybody if they've seen the girl.
Yeah, if they've seen the girl, who this person is. So eventually he's like, I want to talk to Oz, which is Penguin.
Yeah.
So then after that scene, they go in there, and this is where you first meet a Catwoman, Selina Kyle.
Right.
Too.
Yeah, she works at the same establishment.
Yeah, she works at the same bar.
Yeah, and you find out that the girl in the picture is her like roommate, girlfriend, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like Annika.
And Batman, Batman kind of follows her.
Yeah, he's good at stalking people.
Yeah, he follows her to her apartment. He's like staring at her through the window.
Yeah.
I find that a lot of the cops are corrupt too. And I can't remember if he found it during the picture.
Yeah, he finds out through that some of those guys are like on Falcone's payroll or something.
Falcone's payroll.
Falcone actually owns the Iceberg Lounge. Penguin is like his lieutenant or something.
Oh yeah, that's
so like
right.
Falcone's like in charge of everything, and he owns the most of the police and the district attorney, I think.
Oh yeah, because I remember that it goes from there to a point where he's like, Batman's wondering why she's getting
special.
She's dressing up as Catwoman. And this is why he's staring at her through the window. She's like getting changed into like a costume.
Yeah.
And then she goes out, and he follows her back to the mayor's house, and then she's like breaks into his safe, and then she finds like a passport, and she's wondering why like they're talking about this passport and stuff like that. And she's like, I'm trying to get her out of there because she's like predatory type of thing where they're just like using that person. Mm-hmm. But she's been missing for a while, and it's like, okay, they're trying to save her and try to get her out of that area, maybe get her away from that type of lifestyle, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Selina Kyle actually kind of does. Like, that's like her thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's like helping people that are
like in
being abused.
Abused, or like a drug addict or something.
Yeah, people are like trapped in this lifestyle because of the family or whatever.
Yeah, because of that family. But when they go back to the house, it's like ransacked and like everything else. It's like, okay, what's going on? And I think that's when that girl like actually disappears. I'm pretty sure. Like, it's like, what happened to this girl? Because they just took her. Yeah,
she vanishes.
And that's actually Selina Kyle doesn't show up for a while after that.
Yeah. Well, she has a falling out with Batman because Batman keeps pressing her about her connection to Falcone.
Yeah. It's like, why do you keep talking about Falcone all the time?
Yeah. Because she seems to have like these special privileges.
Yeah.
Too. Like she's in and out of that Penguin's place and all that kind of stuff. So
it's like, where do you work at? And like, this is where she actually, I think it's like right after that scene, like, we need to like work together on this.
Yeah.
Because they go to like, there's two different lounges. There's like the top floor is like the Iceberg Lounge, and like it's called like 86.
Yeah, something like that.
is like the second lounge. Is like where the actual crime place is at, where all like the criminals kind of hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when they go back to the, like, he gets them to help him, and then they get kind of infiltrate this bar.
Mm.
And this is where you find out a lot of these cops there are like under, like, why there are a bunch of cops at Falcone's bar, basically.
Yeah.
So you kind of find out that pretty much everyone there is like either a dirty cop or corrupt, I guess you can say.
Yeah, and among the corrupt ones is the district attorney.
Yeah, district attorney's in there, and he's like, because they're trying to find something with I guess we skipped over this part. There was a saw like contraption before that, because the actual like commissioner got captured by the Riddler.
Yeah.
And he's like, the Riddler has like him on the video where he's like this rat thing, and he talks about how he needs a rat. You bring the rat out.
Yeah.
It's like that's like the Batman riddles. Like, just bring the rat out to the light was what the thing is, and then you follow the maze to bring the rat out to the light. That was like the riddle. Like, who's this rat? And as Batman's been trying to find this rat.
Yeah.
Like, who's this rat? Because this is the rat we'll fail to find who the Joker or the Riddler is. Like, that's Batman's thinking at this point.
Right.
So then it goes in that point where he follows Selena Kyle onto the bar and everything else. And then Selena Kyle helps him to infiltrate the bar. This is where you find out that everyone's like a lot of dirty cops and stuff like that are in there. The DA and like half the DA's office is in there.
Yeah.
I think all the DA's office was in there.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, so that's how they find that out. And then after Batman has Catwoman like chat up the DA.
Yeah.
And then he thinks he's going out with her afterwards. He like follows her outside.
Yeah,
she takes like a cab out.
Yeah.
And she leaves him there. But then he's out in the open and he gets nabbed by the Riddler.
Yeah, because I think he goes to his car. Yeah, he goes to the car and Riddler was in this car.
Right.
Heavy breathing in his car. Like he always does.
Heavily breathing into his car.
Yeah. Because he even gets in there and he's like wiping the windows down because like all foggy. Because he's like sitting in there because he's been sitting in there probably for like hours.
Yeah.
In his like gimp suit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sweating like crazy.
So yeah, the Riddler captures the DA.
And then it goes in the scene where he's like, Bruce Wayne's actually going out to the mayor's funeral. Because right after that, he's like, because the DA is missing, so they're like, "Where's the DA at? We haven't seen him." But it's like, oh, the funeral's coming up for the mayor. So Bruce Wayne's like, "I need to go over there because this is where he says a lot of serial killers like to go see their victims, like because it's how they operate, I guess.
Right.
Give them that cheap thrill. There's like, maybe if I go over there, the Riddler might show up or something. Right. That's Batman's thinking. Like I said, this is kind of like a Batman's like he must have did some study, which he must have did that in one of his criminology classes or something.
Yeah, probably.
So he goes over there and then he starts learning like there's a lot of people that the rich people are there, and then like a lot of the poor people like hate all that stuff. They're like they have like protesters outside all the time. But they're protesting about the Riddler doing the right thing and everything else, which it normally happens a lot of Batman shows and everything else.
Yeah.
There was like, and there's a couple like lower class people in there that are like, he deserved what he got.
Yeah, it's like the Joker.
We live in a society.
Yes.
But while they're at the and then this is the second time Batman but this is Bruce Wayne staring at the kid because he's sitting up front.
Yeah,
they stare at each other. Good. They stare at them for like 20 minutes again.
Yeah,
they're like, "Oh, Bruce Wayne!" Everyone's surprised Bruce Wayne's there.
Even Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, even Bruce Wayne is surprised.
Bruce Wayne's like, where?
Yeah. But then while they're at the funeral, like you hear like there's a bunch of noise, like commotion outside, and then you see like car just go through the actual like building,
and
then it's the DA in his car, like with like a bomb and stuff wrapped around his head.
Yeah,
like it's like this, I guess, kind of like in a collar, And he has like a phone on his hand. Everyone just like runs away from it. He's like been sitting there for like it was daytime when they got there, and it's nighttime when they talk about it again. Like he's literally just been sitting there with like this phone that's been ringing for nonstop
for hours.
Yeah, for hours of him just sitting there. But he has like another greeting card or whatever on his chest that says "To the Batman."
Yeah,
so obviously it's the Riddler again. Like that means Bruce Wayne must have went home and must have had to get dressed, and it took him a couple hours.
He got
back there.
Yeah, he ate dinner and came back.
He's like, okay.
Yeah, pretty much. So there's like 3 riddles he has to answer.
Yeah, and it's like, if you do that, then I'll free you. They give you the combination, but if you don't, the guy's like, one of the riddles was about the rat or whatever, I think, if I remember correctly. And it's like, I can't say it. It's like, I literally cannot tell you what this. I will be dead. My family will be dead if I say who the rat is. And then this is where I guess Batman must have like the chiseled jaw or something. He's literally standing right in front of this bomb.
This part's ridiculous.
And it blows up right in his face.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy blows up like a foot away from him. And he's fine.
Yeah, he's like, whatever. It's like, I just kind of falls. He's just like, okay, I just fall down.
Yeah.
Get passed out here.
That and the fact he gets shot an awful lot in this movie.
Yeah. Like the indestructible bat suit.
Nobody aims for his face ever.
Yeah, they aim for his chest. Like,
yeah.
All the bullets are bouncing off of him.
Anyway, they assume that the Penguin is the informant, pretty much.
Yeah, because I was like, they get to that point where like, oh, it must be the Penguin or something. Because I think isn't the clue or something like that? It's like where it all began or something like that. It's Wayne Manor. It's like an orphanage that he talks about.
Yeah, it happens a little bit later. But
I guess this is where they assume Penguin is.
This is where they have the chase with the Penguin.
Yeah.
Because they
like
go
trailer and it's like
yeah, they go there and they find Annika's body. That's Catwoman's roommate or whatever. She's dead.
Yeah.
Which sets her off, of course. And then Penguin
trying to steal their money or something.
Yeah, and this is where you get the big Batman chase.
Yeah, with the Batmobile. You see the Batmobile. It has like a jet engine on it.
Right. Where they have the fight with like Catwoman's going after Penguin, but then Batman shows up in this alleyway and he's just in there revving his engine for like 10 minutes
after he got shot. After he got shot like earlier.
Yeah.
Like great.
So they have this big chase scene, big action chase.
Yeah.
And then they catch up with the Penguin. They find out he's not the informant.
Yeah, because like on the actual, what was it? The riddle was talking about, I guess they misspelled their Spanish or something. It was like the El Ratata. It was like the pigeon with wings or something like that.
Yeah. It's
that's
like
why I thought it was
El Rata or something, and it's supposed to be like La Rata. The L.
Yeah, La Rata. And then Penguin was like, "Do you know?" It was like, yeah, he's like, "Do you know your Spanish?"
Yeah.
Like La Rata.
Yeah, the Penguin is excellent in this, by the way. Gotta point out.
He's pretty good.
Colin Farrell is unrecognizable as the Penguin.
Yeah.
He did an amazing job.
Yeah, I do agree with that. He's playing the Penguin pretty well in this one.
He doesn't look anything like himself in this.
Yeah.
The prosthetics work they did was phenomenal.
And he wasn't like as cheesy and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, he did a great job.
Yeah, I do agree with that one.
The Penguin's supposed to have its own spin-off series on HBO Max, and I could see that being interesting.
Yeah. But they figure out that it's actually called URL or something like that. And he's like, it must be an internet address or something.
Yeah.
La Ratata or whatever. I put it in. Then that was like the next riddle comes up. He says something about where it all began or something like that. And he's like an orphan, or he says they have like a riddle and it's like an orphan or something.
Right.
They're like, we need to go to the orphanage then and see what happens.
Yeah, because Riddler was an orphan and he holds a grudge against the family.
Against everyone, like anyone that's like in that type of position, I guess, because you find out this is like a little bit different too, because Wayne is like Bruce Wayne's father before he was murdered or killed.
Yeah,
he was like a politician. He talked about like the restoration project of Gotham and everything else. And I guess if you watch the actual like video that's being played, he was talking about, he did it at this orphanage. He basically had his first speech was at this orphanage. Saying we're gonna fix this place and fix everything.
Right. And we find out that Riddler is targeting Bruce also.
Yeah, he's the next. He's like the next victim. He's like the son must pay for the sins of their father. I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So he sends a bomb to the Wayne Manor.
Yeah, and then
Alfred opens, but Alfred has the same plot armor that Bruce has.
Yeah.
Like a pipe bomb blows up 5 feet away from Alfred. He ends up in the hospital with some minor cuts and bruises.
Yeah. And this is actually another part. This goes into a bunch of other scenes where Batman's kind of not doing his Batman thing. He's doing more of like the Bruce Wayne thing.
Yeah.
He goes to talk to Falcone eventually.
Yeah.
And I don't know why he went like how he even got to that point where he would be like, oh, I need to go talk to Falcone. I guess it doesn't really matter.
Oh, Riddler. I think Riddler leaked some evidence or something like that.
Oh, yeah. He's watching the TV, isn't he?
Yeah, that Thomas Wayne hired Falcone to kill a journalist during his campaign.
That's right.
Oh, because the journalist is going to leak information about Martha. Why'd you say that name?
Yeah.
And then Martha in this universe had like a mental illness because she's in Arkham.
Yeah, Wayne and Arkham is like the two major families that built Gotham.
Yeah.
So the Waynes and then the Arkhams.
But the Arkhams have a history of mental illness. And like her father killed her mother or something like that when she was a kid. And then she has the same mental illness.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of implied that Bruce may also have it, which would explain why he's dressing like a bat running around at night.
Yeah. But like as that type of thing.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what happens. So he goes to Falcone, and then Falcone reveals his version of the story.
Yeah, he's saying that because at the funeral, Falcone talks to Bruce, and he's like, he saved me one time because he got shot in the stomach or something like that.
Yeah.
And he went over to the Waynes because Batman Wayne is normally a doctor, so he can.
Thomas Wayne.
Thomas Wayne is like a doctor.
Yeah.
So he saved his life, and then that was kind of like his repayment or something like that, I guess. So he went over to Falcone, and he said, because I guess at the beginning of the movie, they talk about how they had the biggest drug bust in history was the Morones.
Yeah.
It was like a rival, I guess a rival gang.
Yeah. The two big Falcones. Yeah, the two big gangs in Gotham, but the Marios and the Falco Lombardis.
Yes, exactly.
And the Marios got busted.
Yeah.
The Mario and Luigi Mario got busted for drugs.
Yeah.
And then Falco Lombardi basically controlled the city afterwards.
Yeah, because he was like, okay, they basically, he got rid of it, and then you got Falcone still like the major person, the major bad guy here.
Right.
Gang boss or whatever.
Right. So the Falco controls everything.
And then Bruce, this is where, since Bruce went to go talk to Falcone, he's like, I had him like killed, accidentally had him kill them. It's like I did what I had to do because Wayne wanted me to basically silence him.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, so, and then Bruce is like, this is the scenes where he's like doubting himself, basically. He's like,
right.
I've been doing this for no reason.
Yeah, he doubts himself for like 2 minutes, and then he goes and talks to Alfred, and Alfred's like, no, I'm pretty sure Falcone killed your parents.
Yeah. I like how he's like basically wakes up from his coma.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've been doing this for no reason. Falcone killed him because my father wanted him to like silence some people. And he's like, but then you get the actual version because Alfred's like, no, Thomas Wayne wanted to like regretted everything when he went to go to him. He regretted it.
Well, he didn't tell him to kill him.
Yeah, he told him just to kind of like quiet him, not kill him.
By like scare him or something.
Yeah, and then he regretted it because then he was basically saying that Falcone actually had, because Falcone's been trying to get it into like to have him owe him for something.
Yeah.
For like the longest time.
Right.
And that was the end, to owe basically Falcone to owe Thomas Wayne or whatever.
Yeah.
Basically own him basically.
Yeah, so then Alfred basically tells him that you dumbass.
Yeah.
Falco killed your parents.
Yeah, but I was like, I can't prove it, but I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure Falco killed your parents. And then he talks to Selena, and then he finds out that Falco is Selena's father.
Yeah.
Which is why she had the special privileges or whatever. She didn't
Yeah.
really, but so
And 'cause
she's
I think Selena wants to help. Has Batman to be like, we need to take down Falcone, basically.
yeah, because they have like a recording or something of Falcone killing
Yeah.
Annika.
She gets it from one of the dirty cops or something, and he has it on his phone for somewhere. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
why
why he had that, but yeah, so
why does voicemail on his phone for no reason?
Yeah, he just has a voicemail of him murdering Annika.
Yeah, for no reason at all.
So then Selena goes to kill Falco.
Yeah, it's like, I need your help, Batman. Like, let's do this. Let's kill. But this is where Batman's like, no killing. You know, it's like, if you kill him, you'd be just like him.
Yeah, because then she like used the bat signal or something.
Yeah, she used the bat signal because she kind of knew where he because I think Batman showed her where to go sometimes.
Yeah.
So they went to go help each other basically. This is where you kind of see that scene where they kind of have like a thing. I guess they're starting to get that romantic interests. I guess you can say.
Yeah, which that typically happens with Catwoman and Batman. Yeah.
So they go there and they do the fighting, and then I think she tries to infiltrate it, and he's like, "Don't kill him," basically.
Yeah,
because he turns the power off, and then she's trying to like shoot him. But I think this is where you see. I think this is where Falcone actually sees, like, because you find out. This is where you start finding out that Falcone was actually the rat as well.
Right.
He was the actual rat this whole time, because like that recording on the phone or something like shows up on the TV or something. It's on the TV and he's watching it.
Yeah, they managed to stop Catwoman from killing Falcone, but then Riddler kills him.
Yeah, because he's like he brings him out because the cops show up or something like that, and then he gets shot, and then he falls into like this light, and that's the riddle. It's like to bring the rat to the light.
Yeah.
You find out across the street from the Iceberg Lounge, Riddler's house was there, I guess. And he had like his gun perfectly positioned there this whole time.
Yes.
For this very moment.
Exactly.
To shoot Falcone. He could have shot him any other time. Actually.
No, he has to do it this exact moment. So then Riddler gets arrested, and they find out who he is, and they send him.
He's like, I just ordered pumpkin pie.
Yeah, they send him to Arkham.
And then he's smiling, and he's like,
yeah, and Batman goes to visit him in Arkham, and then
I think he says something about that. He's like, isn't there like a riddle or something? There's like another riddle that's like in his cage, and he's saying, go to the Arkham. Basically, he says, go to Arkham. Yeah, and then he talks to Riddler, and Riddler talks about how he wants to kill Bruce Wayne, but how he's a massive fan of Batman. Yeah, and this is where I actually find out that he's that orphan, because he was like,
yeah, he's inspired.
Bruce, when Thomas Wayne died, Bruce with his money and stuff was like, people are like, what is going to worry about Bruce? What's going to happen to Bruce? And he's like, well, I was at this orphanage where people were like dying and like rats were eating them. But so basically everything that he's done, like all his stuff that he's done with rats and stuff,
yeah, kind of
took it from his experiences at the orphanage.
Yeah,
and that's where he find out that he thought of these riddles while he was younger, because that was his way of coping with where he was at.
Yeah,
like Enigma's thing.
Yeah, so even though the Riddler's locked up in Arkham, he has bombs like planted all over the city.
Yeah, because he's like, there's like a side, he's like, what do you mean? He's like, I captured you, because I think this is where he thinks that Bruce Wayne or Batman thought that he figured out who he was.
Yeah,
but he's just saying Bruce. He's like, Bruce. He just goes like, Bruce.
Yeah, for some reason he's just like
a couple times.
I gotta get Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
So
and then he's like, oh yeah, there's another riddle part of this riddle here.
Yeah.
Let me go get the. This is where you find out that's a tool that he has, is like the tool that he pulls up the carpet off the carpet. Floor.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, there's the live stream password off his computer, and then he puts it in, and he's like on a live stream, but like he's like on Twitch. And I like how his first word is like, I like how you guys help me build these bombs correctly.
Yeah.
Like, help me fix these detonators. And he's like on Twitch.
Yeah, because he's got a massive following. What is he had like 500 followers on Twitter or something?
Yeah, it's like
which a lot of people made fun of, because it's like that's nothing.
Yeah, he's just like, I have a following.
Yeah.
And then this is where he talks about how it's like, this is where the thing will come, basically. And it's basically saying, because I think this is like election night. Isn't this is like election night this time? So right at the same time, they're at the they're doing the election type of thing, like the victory speech, because I guess the person that was there won the election because there was no other person to say because the other one died. So it's like by default they just saw the lady won, which I don't know if that would actually happen in an election. At that point, they're like, "Oh, we need to go there because this is where the city is exploding because the vans are parked in these specific areas. Because on the floor, it's a map of the city,
Yeah.
and there's like lights showing where all the bombs are. And basically, the plan was to blow up all the because where Gotham is like underneath the water, and there's like they're blowing up the dam where the water was at. So it's pouring the water in and trying to funnel everyone up to like where the election headquarters is at, because that election building is actually where like a flood is supposed to be at. Everyone's supposed to go there anyways.
Yeah.
So their plan was to have all these fringe people wearing their gimp suits in the rafters with like guns, basically going to shoot everyone in this place. Everyone's going to go in there and they're going to shoot everyone.
Yeah.
And like kill everyone in this building.
Yeah, but then Batman and Catwoman show up.
Yeah, Batman and Catwoman show up because they go like, "Oh, we need to get there," because Catwoman's trying to leave the city, and he's like, "No, the bombs blew up like the bridges out of town and everything. You got to go to this place because we need to evacuate everyone."
Yeah,
and Batman's like, "We need to go there because he knows the plan because he watched the live stream."
He watched the live stream, yeah. So they have a big. That's probably where the big action scene is, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like the very end. It's like the big action scene because it's like fighting all these people
getting shot like a billion times.
Yeah, with like these guys with rifles and stuff. It's like they at least
takes like a shotgun blast to the chest at point blank range.
Yeah, and then he basically beats everyone up and like with the help of Catwoman and Gordon and everything else. And then it's where he sees like he pulls the mask out. He's like, "I'm vengeance." So he's basically saying what Batman was saying this whole time. It's like, "I am vengeance."
Yes, so everyone is vengeance.
And they have the realization that he's not really vengeance.
No, at
this point, he's just like justice, I guess you can say.
Yes.
More than vengeance because he's not like the gimp suit alt-right people, I guess.
He doesn't wear a gimp suit.
I don't even know I don't know, like, were they just fringe people? I don't even know.
That's the difference between you and me. I'm not wearing a gimp suit.
Yeah. Pretty much. Then he has that weird scene where like there's electricity coming into the water and he just jumps onto the line and just cuts it. Yeah. And it was supposed to be really dramatic, but it was just like he literally cut the line. He like shocked himself and he got up and it was like fine.
Yeah.
It was really dramatic. It was like a very dramatic scene of him just like cutting out this electrical wire.
Yes.
And it's like, okay. It didn't have to be this dramatic.
No, that's more or less the movie. There's like a thing at the end with Catwoman trying to leave the city. She warns,
basically saying that Gotham won't change.
Yeah, she warns him that there's just like a power vacuum now that Falcone's gone, and this place is just gonna be a war zone.
It's not gonna change. Gotham will never change, and Batman's like, I have to change it.
Yeah, and then earlier in the movie, the Riddler, you find out that there's a person in the cell next to him in Arkham, and you find out it's the Joker.
Yeah, because he's like, he laughs and you can see on the face, you can kind of see his like face, and he has like it must have like prosthetics or something. You can tell he has a smile on there, and it looks like the Joker.
Looks like half his face is cut off.
Yeah,
like he has the Glasgow grin to like an extreme level.
Yeah, and it was like that was actually when I first saw one of the previews before the actual movie was the Elvis movie, and I thought it was Elvis. It looked exactly the same. He had the same haircut.
Yes,
even the same like makeup. It was like
the Joker's Elvis.
Yeah, the Joker's Elvis.
Cool.
And then you had like the Riddler just like is like, I failed, and then the Joker's like, you didn't fail. Like it happens.
It happens. But because the Batman won't kill us, we can just keep doing these things.
Yeah, we just keep doing this all the time.
Yeah, pretty much. So that was the Batman.
Yeah, pretty much the Batman.
Yeah. So what did you think of the Batman?
Actually, I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. I mean, it was pretty long. It probably could have got cut down a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah, but it's a bit long. Yeah.
Yeah,
like 3 hours.
but it was other than that, it was it was actually pretty good. I like the take on the Batman on that actually.
Yeah, I
Matt
enjoyed
Reeves
it a lot. Yeah, it works great as its own standalone thing. Like I
Yeah.
could see more sequels and stuff in this universe, but it doesn't need to cross over with anything else.
No, it's probably gonna be kind of like what movie was it? Isn't there like a DC movie that was like kind of its own thing?
Well, Joker was like that.
Oh yeah, Joker. I was like another Batman, like another Batman type of movie, Joker.
Which they're making a sequel to that too, but it's going to be within the same continuity as that. So I could see that happening. Like I could see this being a trilogy or something.
Yeah,
but within
obviously
its
the second movie is going to be Joker probably because.
Well, maybe they are talking about. Matt Reeves has been talking about how he wants to do stuff that's like a little bit more out there and do grounded takes. Like he was talking about a Mr. Freeze and stuff.
Mr. Freeze.
Because Mr. Freeze, the storyline for Mr. Freeze, you could definitely do a grounded take on about the stuff with his wife and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like that could be an interesting character.
I guess what other Batman characters are there? Like if they wanted to be more grounded.
Well, I mean, there's a lot. If we're gonna ground Mr. Freeze, we got quite a few options.
Yeah, because he has the ray gun, and I guess if they really wanted to do something, that's the only problem is the ray gun because it's like
yeah.
But I know there's a lot of comics where Mr. Freeze is kind of like he's a scientist, but he's like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like the ray gun is like not really a ray gun. It's like it's a little bit different. They've done that. I know they've done that before in the comics.
Yeah. There's
they could do like Solomon Grundy. That's actually part of Arkham. That's an Arkham storyline.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that grounded though.
Yeah, that's because he's like electrical. He's like a Frankenstein monster.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like a Frankenstein monster, or like poison ivy. Like, how do you do that grounded?
Yeah, I don't think you'll be able to do that because that's like dealing with plants. Taking it like with, I mean, the concept could work, but you would have to have like a supernatural element for that.
Yeah. Most of the villains, you need some kind of supernatural element.
Unless they want to go with like Scarface.
They're gonna do Calendar Man.
But yeah, Calendar Man would work, I would think.
Yeah.
Because that's like a serial killer.
Yeah. Well, they might do stuff like that. You might get like a Victor Zsasz or like a Calendar Man or, that sort of thing.
I was going to be like Scarface. They could use that. Yeah. But that wouldn't make any sense because it's about like a dummy guy, like a guy that like controls like a mob boss. That's literally a dummy. Like a ventriloquist dummy.
It's true. Yeah. To do that. They should do Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Yes, we'll use that. Mad Hatter.
Mad Hatter
that could work too. Just some guy that's just like a fantasy, like just like living in some sort of fantasy.
Get Tucker Carlson to play Mad Hatter.
There we go.
But yeah, it's there's a lot of options they could do with Batman.
So, yeah, because Batman's all about like psychological issues. Like that's like the whole thing.
Psychological issues. Yeah,
everything is Batman psychological based.
Right, and they're probably gonna do something with Robin in the future.
Yeah,
and they could definitely do some interesting stuff with Alfred. Because
they could go with some of the gruesome stuff because they have a guy that's like a necrophiliac guy. There's a new one of the newer comics. He's like a necrophiliac.
Yeah, I can see
like,
that.
It's like a surgeon.
Here.
He's like a surgeon that basically was like it's like a weirdo surgeon guy that just like kills people and like builds body parts. They could do that, but that I don't know. That would be probably like a hard R.
Yeah,
if they would actually do that.
Yeah, I don't know how they would do that. Although I think it was R here in Japan. Like,
was it R in Japan?
Yeah, I think Batman was like for 18 or whatever the rating is for like the R equivalent.
That's surprising.
Which I don't know why. I mean, didn't really have that much.
Yeah, that was. I mean, even it was cutaways when he was like beating him in the head and stuff.
Yeah,
it wasn't like it didn't even show anything.
Right. I mean, it was pretty gritty for PG-13. Like it could have been R. It was like straddling the line.
Yeah, that was probably the farthest they could probably push it for PG-13.
Yeah. So anyway, I would recommend the Batman.
Yeah, I would recommend the Batman. That's pretty decent. That was a pretty decent movie. Yeah. Especially if you're a Batman fan.
I love
a different take of Batman.
Yeah, the different take, the more detective elements. There's like Gotham CSI.
Yes.
And it felt very like noir.
Yeah, I'd
Like,
agree with that.
it almost felt like this could have been like a remake of like a Humphrey Bogart film or something, like
Yeah, I'd
a
agree with that one.
Maltese Falcon or something, just with Batman characters.
Yeah, I could see that more. I could see that.
So I felt that was so, like, if you're a fan of that genre of film, like this kind of old like 1930s 40s detective films or whatever, like this definitely felt like that too.
Yeah.
And Gotham always feels like that. Gotham, the city, is always like out of time. Like
Yeah.
no matter what era the film is made, it always feels like a 1930s New York City or something.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think it's because of like the mob bosses and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, mobs and that type of stuff.
It always has that like 1930s, 1940s aesthetic to it.
Yeah.
So regardless of what technology is used, it always has that kind of dirty, grimy city feel to it.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of the newer comics, Gotham is almost like its own character.
Right, and it is in this too. It's very
Yeah.
much like this kind of gritty, grimy place. It almost reminds me of almost like 1980s movies in New York.
Oh yeah.
Like 1980s New York is like that. It's always kind of like this gritty, dark place.
Yeah.
So like that kind of feel to it always, Gotham always feels like that.
There's like harsh shadows and everything else. Like definitely has that architecture and everything else.
Right. All right, so that's going to do it for this review. I think both of us highly recommend the Batman.
Yes.
So check it out.